things like that. And so they couldn't see the bottom of that. It probably looked pretty dark down there, and that led to them calling this the Devil's Pit. And this is the largest known room in our cavern system. And once again, that ledge up there is as far as anybody made it into this cave until Memorial Day weekend of 1955, when a group of experienced spelunkers from Dallas went across that ledge right up there where you see that rope. And they went into a little opening right up here and discovered the rest of our cavern system. And we're going to see that here in a second. Stalactites and stalagmites right there, the sandcastle formation. And this a little bit further down the trail is the cave jail. That's where we throw anybody that touches the cave walls and the formations down here. And a stalactite is on the ceiling and a stalagmite on the floor. An easy way to remember the difference between those is a stalactite is tight to the ceiling, and a stalagmite might reach the ceiling. And when those grow together, that will form a column. So that cave jail right over there is completely made up of columns, and you may see a column or two in the sand capsule right there as well. And stalactites and stalagmites are formed pretty simply. It's just wherever the drop carrying little tiny bits of calcium carbonate comes down from the ceiling, it'll make a deposit on the ceiling, and wherever the drop lands on the floor, it makes another one. And they keep on growing due to that process until they touch and form a column. It's actually a natural sound absorbent. It's kind of like a studio. I guess that'd be pretty inconvenient for anybody that got lost down here. You have to be pretty close.
They couldn't yell for help.
I could.
Stalactites are formed when barometric pressure forces the calcium carbonate drops out of a tiny little hole in the wall, and those holes are about the diameter of a human hair. So these are very, very small holes, and that puts these under a lot of pressure. That's why they're squeezing out in all those different directions and kind of defying gravity.
Looks like coral.
That one right there is the rubber chicken stalactite, as we like to call it. Looks just like a rubber chicken right there. And that one over there is the quarterback stalactite. He's dropping a touchdown pass. And this formation right here and all around this room is called cave coral. And cave coral is formed when the drop of water comes down and splashes and then splatters calcium carbonate out over a large area. And a lot of people will say that looks like broccoli or cauliflower.
Oh God. She said it looks like that'd be more painful than Legos to walk over.
Oh yeah, that's pretty sharp in some spots. And you got pretty good sized pool of water right here, so watch out for that. And that's probably the dirtiest water that you're gonna see down here, just because of how close it is to the trail. A lot of dirty shoes and kick all sorts of dirt and stuff in there. And it gets a little bit low if you reach the right of the trail, so watch your heads if you wander over that way.
Up. Oh, this is the best water I've ever seen.
This formation kind of right on the trail right up here, so you try to avoid that. And the kind of greenish color that you see in that pool of water right there comes from the oxidation of copper. And the copper got there because in the 1960s, when tours were first coming down here, they didn't have any tour guides. And so people did pretty much whatever they wanted, and they used that as a wishing well and tossed their spare change in there. So it's from the oxidation of the copper in those pennies that they threw in there that makes the color in that. And we figured if people are going to do something like that, you might as well make a safe spot for them to do it where they won't really damage the cave. So we actually made another wishing well right up here. So if you bring spare change, you can toss it in the wishing well that's right up here. And there are a couple of raising steps right here that kind of come out of nowhere, so watch out for those. And the trail gets pretty slippery right up here. Once you come up on this wishing well, so you're going to want to use the handrail. get their tips from, so throw as much as you want in there. We'll come back to that later.
Anybody have any change?
$1.
You throw a credit card in there.
So, now we'll actually take it out every 5 years, and we donate it to a hospital in San Angelo,
Oh, which one?
Shannon Hospital.
Oh, yeah, that's a...
I was born in that hospital.
I was born in the old one that they dynamited in 1982, I
They
think.
just built the other one over it.
Yeah. So you're from San Angelo?
I'm from Mason, Texas.
Okay.
My family's from around this area, yes.
Gotcha.
This is Sutton County, and my name's Sutton. So.
Oh.
Well, we took it out about a year and a half ago, and it was around $2,000.
I didn't get it out.
I guess someone a little more qualified than myself will come around right here and reach in there and pull it all out, because no, it's already kind of ruined in there. But they did pour some concrete in here, so I guess that will kind of protect it from seeping down this water and kind of like getting on everything below it.
How is it so clear?
The limestone is like a filter for this water, and it is about 1.5 feet.
What's that?
That's the copper.
It's from the
Pennies.
oxidation of the.
The coins.
Yeah, it's about 1.5 around that little stalagmite. Right. All right, pretty steep decline right up here, and it is pretty wet, of course. So you're going to want to use the handrail right here. And there's a pretty low hanging stalactite right up here, so you're going to want to watch your heads. That stuff is not soft, definitely will hurt if you hit your head on it.
I'm tall. You're too tall.
We call this the first key part of the cave, and you can see why that is. I'll stop that, of course, because we are starting to see a lot more formations in here. But from now on, we are going to be in the most active area of the cave. All these formations are alive and growing, and right up here, all acid. And those geodes are all along the ceiling through here. And this passage can be pretty narrow, so just kind of watch out for that.
Can you make an echo in this cave? Can you make an echo in this cave?
What?
Can you make an echo in this cave?
Oh, there's some parts where you can, yeah.
Okay. Look at that, it looks like a normal thing.
A light bulb?
No, not the light bulb, no. It looks like a bone.
So here is the end of Discovery Crawl, and you can get a better view of how narrow it is down in there. It's really tight, and right there's another one of those carbide arrows. We're marking off. There's a lot more dripping water. That's because we are getting closer to the active section of the cave. So the area we were just in back there was dormant, just because all of that outside air that came through here about 3,000 years ago, when that opening collapsed in, the outside air came in and dried all of that out. But the little doorway we just walked through kind of acted as an air seal and protected all of this from the outside air.
Is it shiny or is it just wet?
No, it's sand.
It's
Oh.
wet, and that's gypsum.
It's kind of water inside, right? All around.
Sorry?
It's kind of water and the rock.
Yeah, there's water seeping down through the limestone.
Wow,
Oh yeah, it comes down. I see the stalactites. It's dripping down those onto here.
I see.
And then it's forming stalagmites.
Yeah, and they
It's got tiny little bits of calcium carbonate in those drops that whenever they land
look at
or wherever they are on the ceiling, they deposit
this
little,
around for
little
me.
tiny pieces at a time.
So don't you tie your shoe? Tie your shoe.
But why?
Because that's
And whenever that water drips on you, we call that a cave kiss, and people say it's good luck to get a cave kiss. I like to say it's bad luck to reach off the trail for a cave kiss though, because in a lot of ways that can be worse than actually touching the formation, along with everything else kind of over a larger area. So you don't really reach out for a drop of water, but if it lands on you over the trail, that's just fine. Here we've got a couple of pieces of cave drapery or cave bacon. It's a little more fun name for it. It looks just like some bacon right there.
It looks like rotten bacon.
been in the refrigerator a little too long.
There's a bit of a decline right up here, and it is pretty wet, and the trail is also pretty uneven, so watch your step right up here. And same thing right up here, a bit of a decline, and it is pretty wet. And there's a long, deep divot kind of right there in the middle of the trail. So watch your step right there.
Watch your step, here it's so slanted.
Drips on you, we call that a cave kiss, and people say it's good luck to get a cave kiss. I like to say it's bad luck to reach off the trail for a cave kiss though, because in a lot of ways that can be worse than actually touching the formation, along with everything else kind of over a larger area. So you don't really reach out for a drop of water, but if it lands on you over the trail, that's just fine. Here we've got a couple of pieces of cave drapery or cave bacon. It's a little more fun name for it. It looks just like some bacon right there.
It looks like rotten bacon.
Been in the refrigerator a little too long.
There's a bit of a decline right up here, and it is pretty wet, and the trail is also pretty uneven, so watch your step right up here. And same thing right up here, a bit of a decline, and it is pretty wet. And there's a long, deep divot kind of right there in the middle of the trail. So watch your step right there.
Watch your step, here it's so slanted.
And of course, the clearer they are, or the whiter they are, the more pure they are. And these more yellowish and kind of brownish colors that we see are from humic and fulvic acids from past dead plants and animals that were in the limestone. But those drops of water picked up along the way down. And more pure calcite will hold light pretty well, as you can see right here. That's just refracting around.
How many inches?
About 30.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's just your
You getting nervous?
wax.
No, this kind of thing doesn't make me emotional.
She moved to the calcite. In 1960, this is as far as the tours would have gone. They would have taken that passage right there and headed towards the exit. But nowadays, this is just where I take out anybody that can't keep their hands to themselves, but we haven't had a problem with that, so we can keep on going. We still got plenty of stuff to see.
What?
So in 1960, that is as far as the trail went. So from now on, all this trail was built in 1961, and the ceiling's a little bit low when you come into this next room. And we call this room the Christmas tree room. There's quite a few of the formations in here, kind of look like Christmas trees. Mostly that one right there towards the back.
That one looks like.
And pull out one.
That one looks like.
That's a really good one.
That one looks like a little.
This kind of frozen waterfall looking formation we have right here is called flowstone. And flowstone is formed when the calcium carbonate water kind of flows down, of course, almost like a waterfall, and it will deposit layers of calcite as it goes. And right up here, you can see some footsteps in this flowstone formation. Right there, maybe some a little bit towards the top as well. And that shows that this is a pretty brittle flowstone formation, and it's really thin. You can see all the formations underneath it right here as well. And I believe that this flowstone formation hasn't been active for a while now. We're almost to a rest area. And for the millionth time, as you climb right up here, it's pretty wet, so you're gonna wanna use the handrail, and the ceiling gets pretty low before you get on these stairs, so watch your head.
Okay. All good. Okay, fine.
This pool of water down here is called Horseshoe Lake, and as we continue on further down the path, we'll see the other half of the horseshoe. It kind of goes around right here into a pool down the corner.
Is it at one time another wishing well?
No, this one's the greenish color we see in here. It's actually just because it's so deep. It's kind of refracting of the minerals in the water and kind of off the formations underneath there. And just the light coming back to our eyes has a greenish tint.
Okay. It's a physics thing rather than a chemical thing. Okay.
No, there's no fish in there. Nothing can survive down here. This pool of water is about 4 feet deep, right in there, the deepest looking part in there. And it may look a little more shallow just because the water is so clear. Like I said earlier, the limestone does act as a filter as this water comes down, and because of that, it is a pH level of 7. And this is usually where people like to get their picture taken, so I can get a picture of all of you. Okay, I'll wait right here. I'm gonna go to the end of this bridge right here and turn off this light.
Wait. Hey, kids, wait. No. Are you going back here?
Yeah, we're gonna go
Okay, Otto, come on.
that way. I'll just pass by you on the left.
Okay.
Now, there's a pretty good sized puddle of water out here before you get on this bridge, so watch your step right there. Well, up until 2006, the Caverns of Sonora was known for its butterfly formation. And the butterfly was two fishfin halactites like we saw earlier, coming out of the same capillary. And it was an extremely rare formation. As a matter of fact, it was the only known formation of its kind in the world. But unfortunately, in 2006, some college students came down here for a tour, and two of them led the tour guide off down that passage right there as a distraction, while one of them jumped the railing right here and snapped off the upper right wing of the butterfly.
Oh, God.
It kind of looks like
And the left wing.
What college did they go to?
We actually don't know, but I like to say the University of Texas, because Wreckham. I'm a Texas Tech student.
Oh,
But yeah,
Texas Tech. Guns up, man. 2-time Tech grad myself.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I like to just say it. From the University of Texas.
it looks like
I like
you're
those long ones.
Yeah.
And that is what it looked like before they broke out in that really long part right up
I
there.
remember seeing that when I was a little
Yeah,
kid.
it's a big one
Oh.
right here.
Probably 1985 or 6 or something we came down here.
dude, 5 years old.
Yeah.
Yes, this
Wait,
is
no,
good.
No, I was about 10. I was about 10 or 11, I think.
They're a little long.
And because of this little,
3.
I believe that he broke it off because his
Oh,
tour
they never
guide
want
made
that.
a joke about it being worth $1 million, but that guy was later sued for $2 million.
Oh, the tour guide or the kid?
The guy that broke it.
Oh,
It wasn't a felony at the time, it was just a classic misdemeanor.
okay.
But we were able to take him to court and sue him for $2 million, so he is paying that off.
Is he still paying it off?
You probably don't get out of that kind of debt.
So you got $2 million sitting around
Yeah.
somewhere, he won the lottery.
Normal circumstances, you probably carry that to the grave with you.
He did try to get a little bit of money out of it. I believe he tried to sell it on Facebook, but it's not really worth a whole lot. It was just a little piece of calcite. Calcite's pretty common, as you can see. We've seen a whole lot of calcite today.
Yeah.
And after he found out the piece was worthless, he tossed it in the Trinity River to get rid of it, so the piece can't be recovered. And although it is unfortunate, at least it got the act passed in 2007, which changed it from a Class C misdemeanor to a third-degree felony to actually break any formations in any cave in Texas.
Oh, a cave kiss.
We got a pretty interesting room right here, just because of the variety of formations that we're seeing in such a small room. You can come in here and see pretty much every single formation that you would find all throughout the cave. It's all in here. There's the drapery up there, stalactites, stalagmites, coral, some flowstone right there. Dogtooth spar in this water that's still growing because it is in the water. Some popcorn right there. Soda straw right there. It's all in here. A whole bunch of lactites.
really sharp.
There's even the man-made carbide arrow right there.
How is it?
You're standing in a good spot right there on those two circles. If you look right there towards the ceiling in that little crevice, you'll see the upside down spaghetti bowl, as we like to call it. Hold that up there. Looks like a bunch of worms coming down from the ceiling, all sorts of crazy stuff. And those are, although they are coming down from the ceiling, they are helictites rather than stalactites, because they are being formed by that pressure squeezing them out.
Wait, what was the word for those again?
Helictite.
Helictite.
And these are
Helictite.
the ones that are coming out of the wall. All that, those are helictites. And we came all the way down, so you know what that means. You go all the way back up again, of course. It's not gonna be all at once though, so don't worry about that. However, these stairs right here are pretty steep, and there is a bit of an overhang right over here, so watch your heads.
They use a guardrail.
Get right here where these vertical bars end, and you look right up here, you'll see the dove in the bird bath formation. As we call it, there's the dove right up there, and the water pouring out of the bird bath. There's a long skinny column right here, and all of these really big kind of mountains of calcite are all columns technically.
It looks like a tree with a bird on it.
He calls it the bird bath. This is the water coming out of the bird bath.
And once you get to this point right up here and you look back at the bird bath formation, it should now look like a cardinal in a bird bath. Cardinal. Again, the water coming down right there.
That's not too much further.
A bunch of really nice popcorn all along this wall, looks exactly like popcorn, and then right here is the Statue of Liberty's torch.
Wow.
Flame right there, it looks just like it. And the trail gets a little bit steep right up here, and there's no handrails, so just kind of watch out right up here. Calcium and water. This idea of dissolving of the water, and of the evaporation of the water. So you're going to see a pretty decent amount of gypsum in here as well. So we had a whole lot of all three of those things down here at one time. And we call this the cracked dome room, and if you look right up there towards the top, you'll see why exactly that is. And in this room, you can see the different levels of that hydrosulfuric acid's water table. As the water table formed, the cave receded. This is right there.
Some 3D of this. Well, you see the bottom of the staircase?
I don't know, we have to wait.
You see the bottom or the top of the staircase? I can't remember.
Wait.
You see the bottom of the staircase or
Look
the...
at the bottom.
Okay.
Be careful.
You can go down the trail to the right, but don't go too far because we're actually going to be going to the left. It's a little bit easier for me to get to the front.
Gotcha.
Just a little bit to the right.
All right.
If you remember where I said they came out in 1960, that path comes out right there. And then they would get on the exit trail right here where we are. And the exit trail is 3 switchbacks around right here. And then 3 sets of staircases. And it's probably going to be the hardest part of our tours. Just kind of take it at your own pace, go as slowly
How many
as you
minutes?
need to.
Huh?
How many minutes?
Just a couple, not too many.
At the top of these stairs right here, there's going to be another rest area. We're going to stop there for a few minutes. So just use that as motivation to get up the rest of these stairs. And once y'all get through, just find yourself a seat anywhere you would like.
Ato. Tu hija COVID vaccine already, don't worry. Both. Okay.
And the average growth rate for just all the different types of formations through all the different parts of the cave put together is roughly 1 centimeter per 100 years. You think about how much longer it's going to take just for those to touch. And we call that formation right there our cave applesauce formation. It's just like it. So it also looks like caramel or a slushy, but it's just a flowstone formation like we saw back there. And all this coming down right here is also flowstone. And a lot of people say that looks like it has kind of a soft applesauce-like texture, but that is completely solid. And all this stuff is totally solid.
It looks like a river up in the park. It doesn't look like it's solid.
It looks. Maybe I should no, it's solid.
Don't focus.
And there's pretty good sized pool water right there, so watch your stuff. And right now, we are more or less directly above the rest area. The rest area is kind of right at that in that area down there, and that is 155 feet below the surface. That's the lowest known point of the cave, lowest that we're going to be going today. And this little platform that we're standing on right here wasn't here back in 1955, of course. It would have looked kind of like this right here. It would have gone down at an angle like that and been pretty slippery. So those explorers used the stalagmite right here as a handle, so you can see the effects of touching. And it is like this because humans have oils on their
No,
and
don't touch.
these oils will of course repel water once you touch them. It repels the water that's carrying little tiny pieces of calcium carbonate to actually make the formations. They'll just slip right off and the formation gets all dried out and chalky like that. And so that's a healthy formation right there, so you can see the difference between those. And right back there on that wall, kind of towards the back, you see a fish fin or a fish tail stalactite, that kind of triangle burrito looking thing right there. And fish fin or fish tail stalactites are pretty rare formations. There's only about 7 or 8 in the cave that I've seen, but that's probably the best example of one. And we call this the soda straw room, and we call it that, of course, because of all these soda straws that we are seeing here. And these are completely hollow, like a soda straw, and they're formed when a drop will hang there for a very long time. These drops will hang for anywhere from a few hours to a few days before they actually drip down. And so when the water sits there, it makes a ring of calcite just very slowly, and the water keeps coming on down the hollow tube to the tip, and they keep on growing like that. And the longest one we have in our cave is right there. That's 4 feet long. And there was one hanging down next to it that was about the same length. You can see the root of it right there, because someone slapped that one down. So that's why we built this little platform. And once I got a nice look at all these.
That's what?
And once again, this is 155 feet below the surface. This is the lowest known point of the cave, the lowest we're going to be going today. And would y'all like to experience total darkness?
Yep, hold on, let me turn off the camera here.
As the airflow dried all of the limestone out here out. And you have a question?
Was this cave filled with water years ago?
Yeah, this whole area was underwater until about 1 million years ago.
Did you know Antarctica used to be like a jungle, like with lime and stuff?
It used to be the complete opposite of what it is. Alright, there's a couple of steps right up here. Once you all the way up to that door down there, and I'm going to follow right behind you to unlock it. And this tunnel here is completely man-made, so feel free to touch these walls all you want.
This is a big echo room. It is. This is a big echo room.
Yes, it is. You can see the daylight coming through the door.
Echo.
You see how the camera reacts to the bright light. Oh, he's got to unlock it, I think. Wait until he's got to unlock it. And the echoey part.
Alright.
Echo.
From Mexico, working on your Spanish. Well, getting back, I guess you probably know some Spanish.
Just the dirty words. I learned them from her.